Good evening, everyone. Tewksbury Zoning Board of Appeals for April 29th, 2021 is in session. First order of business, approval of the minutes from February 25th, 2021.
I'll approve the minutes. I'll approve the minutes for the February 25, 2021.
I'll take that as a motion. Motion has been made to approve the minutes.
A second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. All right, why don't we do, now let's just take them in order. First new hearing, please.
Harold and Linda McCarthy under Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 8, as a party agrees by a decision made by the building inspector in a letter dated February 17, 2021. Said property is located at 325 Marshall Street, assessors map 32, lot 3, zoned residential.
Before we call the applicant for this one, let me just announce that the phone number for tonight, if you want to call in on this one, or any of them, is 781-565-8134. Again, that's 781-565-8134. And who do we have for this application?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. David Plunkett, North 491 Dutton Street in Lowell, representing the applicants Harold and Linda McCarthy for the premises at 325 Marshall Street. Also here, online are Harold and Linda McCarthy, along with Joseph Andela, who will be the contractor for the garage.
Okay. All right, you're a party aggrieved.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about
So,
what you got.
Mr. Chairman, if I might move into the discussion. The applicant had submitted a request for a building permit for a garage on their site. They have owned the property off of Marshall Street for many years. They sold off, and they farmed the land. They farmed the land, and then they sold it in the past year or so to the developers Ginsberg and Martell. The developers got a special permit to develop the area that was primarily for farming, and the McCarthys retained their home. The McCarthys still lived all these years, and they retained a parcel of land that's in excess of 5 acres. They've got a 5-acre parcel plus another parcel immediately adjoining that. So they requested for the building permit for the structure that they were going to place on their 5+ acre parcel of land. The building commissioner denied. It was based on 3 points. The 3 points, in our narrative, we addressed each of the issues that were the basis of the denial. And we feel that, it's clear that the determination was not in keeping with the language of the bylaws. And, point by point, Mr. Chairman, the first point was that the proposed structure would be in violation of section 3511, which is relative to accessory buildings. And the only limitations on it, they can't be more than 20 feet in height, 1.5-story limitation. And neither of those two conditions are, the cause of the concern in the denial. The third element contained in 3511 is what the building commissioner questioned. And that was that the structure was habitable. And she determined it was habitable because she said it has a bathroom and is finished. Well, it's a half bath. The proposal is for a sink and a toilet. And the entire structure has no other subdivision within the structure itself. It's merely the open garage area and the half bath. And one of the reasons for the half bath is that, again, with 5+ acres of land, this structure is a significant, I believe it's like 150, 250 feet from the home. And Mr. McCarthy wants to have the ability that if he's out in the garage, that he could make use of this half bath, rather than having to trek back into the home. If you look at in the zoning bylaws, there is no definition of habitable. So we're to look at what the common usage of the word habitable means. And if you look in the dictionary, it's pretty consistent no matter what dictionary you look at, that habitable means that it's capable to be lived upon for residential purposes. So, putting a half bath in a large open garage does not make something habitable. So we would respectfully request that the ZBA look at that portion of the denial and make a determination that it wasn't valid and therefore should not have been the basis of a denial for this permit on that grounds. The other second area of the denial is that indicating that unless it's allowed, the building commission made reference to the provision in the bylaws that say that unless a use is allowed, it's prohibited. But the reference in the first denial in section 3100 specifically states that accessory buildings are allowed in all areas, all districts. So there is nothing prohibiting a garage in a residential district. It says that accessory buildings are allowed in every district. And then the building commission made further reference that she thought that it was larger than most of structures of this sort in a residential district. Well, again, we look to the zoning bylaws. There's absolutely no limitation upon size. There's no limitation about footprint. There is no limitation other than the height and that it, in 1.5 stories and cannot be habitable. And so we don't violate any of those. And again, we look at, the particular parcel that we're dealing with here. It's a 5 acres of land. There's not going to be any violation of setbacks. There's not going to be any question in terms of it being able to fit onto the site. And I had emailed over, hopefully everyone received it earlier today. We did get a group of neighbors of interest, the immediate abutters to this parcel, saying that they supported this because it's not even going to be, you're not even going to be able to see it from the street. And where it's proposed to be located is going to be behind a wooded area, I forget whatever the technical, a grouping of trees that's already there that's not going to be taken down. So it's going to be shielded naturally by some trees there, and it's going to be on a 5+ acre parcel of land. So again, looking to the zoning bylaws, there's absolutely nothing limiting the footprint of such accessory structures, which are allowed in all districts within our zoning, district setup, and taking further into account the size of this parcel and the ability to locate it where it's going to be located, and looking also to the fact that those that might be most impacted, and would say that really no one is going to be impacted because of how it will be situated, they're in agreement. They're saying, yeah, we support this. And the McCarthys have lived there for years. This has been their home for years. The third aspect of the denial is reference to the OSRD special permit itself. And particular attention was given to language that was cited in the denial. But the building inspector did not include the language that said to the extent applicable. And because it was talking about no building permit issue until confirmation from DPW or the planning board, to the extent applicable. Then it goes on to say adequate town water is available to tie in and approve sanitary plans. And it further. Actually, let me look at the, it's an exhibit to the application, Mr. Chairman. Just give me 1 second.
Did you include any of the OSRD permit, special permit?
Yes, I put in, that's what I'm trying to find the exhibit numbers. Okay, yeah, it's exhibit, or it's the first exhibit to the plan, and it's the section that the building commissioner made reference to, and that was H, Public Works confirmation, saying no building permit shall be issued to the planning board and building commissioner receive written confirmation from the Department of Public Works to the extent. And then talks about certifying adequate town water is available to service the development and provide fire protection.
Now, are you referencing the paper that you'd given us dated March 18th, 2021?
I'm giving you the attachment, the exhibit to the narrative that was submitted with the appeal. And it's a page of the OSRD that the building commissioner referenced in her denial. So
All
this,
right. I haven't found that page yet. I found it on number 3 of the second page of your verbiage in your
yes,
explanation.
and then I also included, it was in the submittal. It was part of the, it was attached to the narrative, Mr.
Okay, I got you. Last page of the narrative.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
And that paragraph H is the paragraph that the building commissioner referenced in the denial. And that was talking about, to the extent applicable, but if you look, it talks about adequate town water to service the development, approval plans to tie into municipal sewer service to serve the development. Well, this, and you can see what the intent is when they're building out the development, which is going to be in the area that's formerly part of the farm that Mr. McCarthy had utilized all those years.
Let me interrupt you with a quick question.
Sure.
The original parcel was 53 acres, is that correct?
Correct.
And you kept 5 of them?
5 plus. Yeah,
5
it's
plus.
5 acres and then like I think it's half an acre immediately abutting it.
Was that always in the plan?
What the 5 acres?
That the McCarthys were going to keep 5 acres?
Yes.
Okay.
That
I'm a little
part of
confused
the
as to-
submittal to the board.
I'm a little confused on why those 5 acres were part of the special permit. Because I understand what you're saying. You have to talk to the DPW to make sure there's adequate water and storage and all that for, the 48 acres, because
Yeah.
obviously you're going to build something on it. If
Yeah.
somebody is. But we're talking about the 5 acres that never got sold.
Correct. Well, yes, that's correct. Well, they retained the title to it. It was part of the overall development plan. Because what's going to happen, they're going to be coming in off of the area that the McCarthys have always utilized to access their property. And then when they finish everything, they'll be, again, in the same access area, but that will be upgraded when they develop the adjoining, whatever it is, 48 of 50 acres, 48 acres, that's going to be the new development.
So 53 acres were sold, but part of the
Yes.
deal was you got to live on 5 of them.
Correct.
Okay, I understand. All right, go on.
Yes, so it's a situation where if you look at the language and the language saying to the extent applicable, it's clearly, this is not part of the new development. This is their home. This is the home that they've had for many, many years. And so they already have water there. They have their own private septic system there. So the garage isn't going to add, the only thing that's being built is an accessory building. The McCarthy's living there aren't going to change anything. They're going to still have the water that supplies them the water now. They're still going to have the facilities that function with their private septic system at this point in time. So nothing is changing. This proposed garage with the half bath isn't going to change anything relative to the house. So that section, if you're, again, looking at the language that was contained, to the extent applicable, isn't applicable to a house that's already in existence, that's been utilized as a primary residence, continues to be utilized as a primary residence, and will continue, and will go on to be the McCarthy's primary residence. So we would say that that's not appropriate determination for denial because of the fact that the language is contained in it. It's clear that it's not, it doesn't apply to the situation at hand where we have the current house already utilized and not going to be subject to, it already has the access to what they've had access to all these years. So that's basically it, Mr. Chairman, in terms of we look to the specific reasons for the denial, and then we look at, the application of what the language is in the zoning bylaws, and we look at the specific language that was referenced as a reason for denial, and we say a proper and appropriate determination of the facts would be that the denial should be overturned and the permit should be allowed to issue.
So let me interject one more time.
Sure.
How long has the McCarthys lived on the property?
From Harold, I could ask Linda and Harold to give a specific rather than, I know it's not, I can say many years, but let's get a more definite.
Give or take. 25 years, 30 years, 50 years,
30 years.
Linda, how?
30 years, plenty.
30.
All
Okay.
right, so you've lived on the property, you've lived on 53 acres up until 2018. In 2018, you sold, the year 2018, you
No,
sold
we sold in December
of 2018
of this year.
of this year.
21. I'm sorry, this past 20. 20.
Okay. Then, okay. Your deed, which is in our packet, which I just had in my hand, is from 2018. Is that correct?
That's for the.
That was when,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Chairman.
That was when we went under agreement.
So that was, geez, I got too many papers. Under agreement to sell the property, to sell the
Yeah.
53 acres. And then they sold it,
No,
They
to
deeded
sell
that-
48, we sold 48 acres.
you sold 48, you sold 53, and they deeded 5 acres back to you.
No.
I think they retained 5
We
acres.
retained the 5 acres we
5
currently live
plus.
on.
Okay, so that was the question I asked you, Mr. Plunkett, earlier.
Yeah.
So the 5 acres of the total 53 acres, the
Mhm.
5 acres you retained
Yes.
shouldn't have been part of the special permit.
Well, I mean, it's shown on the special permit plan, but, basically, it's property as indicated that they've lived on for 30 years, and that this is a portion of that large parcel of land that's been in ownership for those 30 years. So.
I understand that, but in 2018, it was redeeded.
Well, I think that perimeter description that was put
Oh.
into place because it was then put into both names, Mr. Chairman, if you.
That's what
look
happened in
at the-
2018.
Yeah, if you
Put into
look
my
at the, yeah, so if you look at the grantor and grantee, Howard wanted to put it, had been in Howard's name, was in Howard's name alone, and then he put into his name and his wife's name in its entirety.
Tenants by the entirety.
Right.
So that would have been all 53 acres?
Yes.
All 53 acres.
Okay. Okay, so I'm back to my, so that was basically just a name change on the property
Yes.
in 2018. Okay, I understand. So now I'm back to, if this was always going to remain your property, the 5 acres, why is it part of the special permit?
Because the access to the other property is through the access that the copies have for their parcel. So they're still utilizing the access area that they've always utilized. And eventually, when the development in its entirety is built out, it will include the area that the McCarthy's are using now for access to their.
So it's a shared driveway?
No,
Kinda.
no. Well, when it's finalized, then it'll be upgraded for the purpose of the access to the other portion of the build out. So to the back area of the farm that's now being built out into individual residential lots and, you know, residential units, structures will be built in the back there. And eventually it will come through the area that was, you know, again, currently being utilized by the McCarthy's and had always been their access point to their property.
If it's part of the special permit, just to knock that item off the list, why not just get DPW approval?
Oh, I mean, they're not bringing any water or sewer to their,
Right, but
yeah.
it's on the special permit. And
Well,
the
it says
5
to the
acres,
extent, it says to the extent applicable for purposes of proving that the development will have these adequate, you know, services. So this is not, you know, this is a building that's already there. But say, Mr. Chairman, I suppose in the alternative, if we wanted to, because it says until the planning board, building commissioner, but, you know, say it's not going to be, there's not going to be new town water service in this.
I understand, but if it's part of the special permit, and the special permit says confirmation from the Department of Public Works to the extent applicable, why not let the Department of Public Works just tell you it's not applicable? Just knock that one right off. Go to the
Yeah.
DPW, have them tell the building commissioner that, yeah, it's fine. I'm just asking, 'cause, I mean, it's a special permit. It's clearly
Sure.
stated there.
Yeah.
The 5 acres is part of the special permit because you share access.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
That kind of seems like an easy one for me to
all right, point
knock off
taken.
with going to the DPW.
Yep, point taken.
I mean, it could be, Rob. I mean, the distance, I think Attorney Plunkett had mentioned that it was 180 feet or 200 feet between the structure and the house. Are you guys planning on running sewer and a water line that 200 feet back to the residence?
I believe it's going to use the, I'll ask Mr. Nadella in terms of the water and bathroom connection.
Yes, we are intending to tie into town water and town sewer.
So back to the residence, so you're gonna run the pipes 200 and something feet?
Yes,
I mean, that could be the reason for the special permit, because the DPW wants to know how they're gonna get the water and sewer to the bathroom.
yeah, we have a sewer stub on the street that's being put in right now that's for access to the structure.
Well, I think, Mr. Chairman, the application was a condition to just get sort of, and I notice it says either off planning board, you know, either one, we could get some sort of confirmation that it's satisfied or not applicable.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I believe that because it's on your permit, your special permit, I think it'd be pretty easy because it clearly states, go to the DPW and let them make the determination as to what extent they want to get involved. That's how it reads to me. Written confirmation from the DPW to the extent applicable. So what you're saying is it's not applicable at all. Let the DPW say that.
Okay.
That's what they're there for. All right. So what I'm thinking is, do you want to go with, on the refusal letter, do you want to talk about 1 and 2 while you're here? Because, okay. So let's look at section 3100. So the proposed garage is larger in size and type of material not commonly found in R40 district, section 3100. No land shall be used and no structure shall be erected or used except as set forth in the following table use of regulations. What she's basically saying is, if it's not under prohibited uses, you're okay.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Section 3500 talks about 3510, the following accessory structures are permitted in all districts.
All right, so there's 3100 up on the screen. I hope I shared it well.
So, you know, none of the expressly prohibited uses are, you know, applicable to this application.
Do you know what is meant by type of material not commonly found?
I know that initially that Mr. Andela had discussion with the building commissioner and that it was going to be construction is going to put a siding on one side that would be I forget which side. I could ask you to say which side that was going to be put on. But, it's something that there's no prohibition and there's no limitation in terms of the type of materials that can be used. But at this point, Mr. Chairman, I could just ask Mr. Andela, what side of the structure were you going to put the vinyl type residential look siding?
Yeah, what we're gonna do if you really wanted it, we were gonna vinyl side the front that faces the street. But it's not really exposed that much, but if that's what you want, we could do that.
What is the structure going to be made of besides the vinyl
Frame,
side?
the frame is all wood. It's a Morton building, prefab building. It's all wood, 100%. But the sheathing on the roof and the walls is metal and aluminum. It's a light gray. It's all one color.
What is the garage going to be used for?
Basically, it's a hobby garage. Harold McCarthy is 77 years old. He's been a farmer for years, a mechanic also. Like a lot of guys golfing, this, that, and the other thing. Harold likes to putt around fixing his stuff. He has a lot of stuff, and he likes to fix it and tinker with it. He's had big garages on his property before. One's still standing. The other ones have been torn down. So he's accustomed to having garages to work in.
Well, I'm looking at the denial letter under section 3100, and I honestly don't get it. I don't.
Don't
I
get
don't,
the denial letter, or don't get what I'm trying to do.
no, I don't get the denial letter.
Okay, we agree. We agree. That's all.
And it's not a tannery. You're not
No.
distillation of bones, rendering of fat.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
You're not manufacturing glue.
No, he does still do quite a bit of gardening and farming, though. That's what he has, stuff like that. He does
I mean, you got
all kinds
It's
of.
I
Just-
might be it.
dismantling of motor vehicles, but that's more like an automotive recycle store.
Well, yeah.
You guys call them junkyards, but and you're not dismantling. You tinker it just like I would do in my garage.
Yeah, he's a tinkerer, but also he likes to tinker with his own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he just
I
has
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
contractors and stuff, and
Yeah.
he likes to rebuild and make them look good.
He had a farm, so he has bigger stuff.
Yeah. And
More
Mr.
stuff, more stuff.
Mr. Chairman, driving, I live in Tewksbury and my office is in Lowell, but I'm a resident of the town. And, driving around, I see buildings of all sizes, and again, I think you have to put in perspective the size of this parcel. And then in the narrative letter, I reference, paragraph 3500, which testifies that the accessory structures are allowed in all districts. And again, the only limitation is 20 feet in height, 1.5 stories, and not habitable. This is not in excess of 20 feet. It's not more than 2.5 stories, and a simple toilet and sink in a large open area does not make that habitable. So, I think on that point, the language in the bylaws, basically supports our position that the building permit should have been issued. And I think that, it also should be noted that, the building commissioner was very cordial and she's not here because this isn't, it's not something that's being fiercely opposed either, so.
What's the grade of the land, the property, the 5 acres? Is it flat?
It's pretty flat, yes. It's open space. The back 1.5 acres is wooded, but it's pretty flat. There's at least 2.5 acres that are open space. It's wide open. There's no trees. It's all like grassy area. Well, it will be when it's all done. Right now, it's not that grassy, but there was the grass there at one time.
I clicked the wrong button earlier. That's why my video stopped. I thought I stopped the sharing. I've been here the whole time. All right.
And so, Mr. Chairman, that's really points 1 and 2. Relative to size and,
I was just thinking the same
and
thing.
prohibited use. And there's nothing in the bylaws that indicate that that's an appropriate ground, but one of those positions to deny this application. And if you look again to what I've said first, those that might be impacted most would be those that are directly abutting it and they're in favor of, because they realize that this can, Mr. McCarthy, I knew it was many years, but now tonight I found out it's 30 years. This has been his home for 30 years. It's, as Mr. Andela said, he's had barns, he's had garages, and now he's reducing from the large parcel down to this 5-acre parcel. It'll be a nice new building that will fit very well on the 5+ acre parcel of land. And, no one is opposed to it.
I hear what you're saying. I do hear you. Yeah, I'm just I don't like to. If there's a special permit in place that specifically calls out for the DPW approval, I want to see that. And I hear what you're saying, but the 5-acre parcel that they retained is part of the special permit. And we're gonna say no to the DPW on the first building that's gonna be built of the 53 acres, because this is the first thing going up, right?
Yeah, well, again, Mr. Chairman, I understand your question, but this is an accessory building to a residential structure that's already there. So it's not the first, they'll be building residential structures on all the new lots that are created by the subdivision.
Right, but after the sale of this property, after the new owner acquired the special permit, this is the first thing that's being built on this parcel.
This is being an accessory, again, an accessory
But
structure.
it's the first thing being built on a parcel. Whether it's an accessory, it's a garage, I understand all that.
Okay.
But it's the very first thing under this new special permit being built. Because it does fall under the special permit, your OSRD permit.
Yeah. No, I appreciate your view. Again, our view is that if you would look at the language, and our thought was that the language, the clear interpretation of the language would be that with the limiting language of to the extent applicable, and talking about providing the services to the development, and these services. So basically, they're talking about providing water and sewer to the development. This permit is not creating the situation to provide those services to the structure, because again, they've been there for 30 years.
Right, but if you read on the special permit, if you read paragraph H, forget the sub ones under it. Just read that first sentence. Written confirmation from the Department of Public Works to the extent applicable. and then it gives them what they deem applicable.
Yeah.
And go to the DPW and let them say no.
Okay.
Let them say it's not applicable to us. Go ahead. And then come back to us.
Well,
That's my take on it. If the board members had a different take, I'd love to hear it.
No, I would agree with you. That I was gonna suggest that. They go to the DPW first and finalize that piece and then come back to us.
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask though, if we have a consensus though, that that's the only issue that we're coming back on, that, I would ask that if we could have a determination that of the three elements of the denial, we're really focusing on only one element, because after discussion and submittal tonight, to get a sense that we're in agreement relative to the first two provisions.
I can't do it as a vote or anything, but I can say that my only issue right now is issue number 3 on the denial letter. I can tell you that, and if the other board members who are on this case want to tell you how they feel, that's entirely
I
up to
feel the
them.
same. I feel exactly the same. I just want to see what they have to say before it can be approved by me at least, or reviewed any further.
And who is the third member sitting on this one?
That is me, and I agree with the chair.
Okay.
All right,
Well-
so if there's nothing further, I would like to continue you to next month. I think that's enough time to go to the DPW, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Attorney Plunkett, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, but, time is of the essence. I'm sure Mr. McCarthy is disappointed, but I understand your line of questioning, and it'll be incumbent upon us to satisfy. I guess that's what it comes down to. So we'll accept that we've addressed 2 out of the 3, and the third point will be addressed prior to the next meeting. And just one other, just on that issue though, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we get before the planning board to make a clarification of it relative to this particular parcel. Would that be acceptable also?
Well, you don't have to go to the planning board.
Well-
It says written determination from the DPW.
Yeah.
Let me look at it again. Let's see if the planning board would satisfy us.
Well, the planning board issued the special permit, so they would have jurisdiction over interpretation of language in the special permit. I would think that they would have the ability to clarify if there's some question as to the applicability of that provision to Mr. McCarthy's parcel. I would just suggest that.
If you were to have something from the planning board.
Yeah.
Because it clearly states that no building permit shall be issued until the planning board or building commissioner receive written confirmation from the Department of Public Works. So if you get me something from the planning board.
Yeah.
And they want to step over the Department of Public Works, I'll accept that, because they
Okay.
did issue the permit.
Yeah, it's their jurisdiction. Yeah.
Well, it's their permit, and they say
Yeah.
written confirmation from the DPW, so.
Sure. Okay. No, I understand what you're looking for, and we will address this point before the next meeting.
Well, what I'd like to see is if you satisfy number 3 of the denial letter, then number 3 just goes away and our decision is made on 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see, and that's.
Sure.
that would be pretty clear to all the board members that that issue is taken care of.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. So if somebody would like to make, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that I'm fine, I understand.
Okay. If somebody would like to make a motion to continue to our next scheduled hearing, which is May 27th, is that enough time, Attorney Plunkett? 1 month?
That should be plenty of time.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to continue Harold and Linda McCarthy um, under Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 8, as a party aggrieved by a decision made by the building inspector and the letter dated February 17th, 2021. Said property is located at 325 Marshall Street, Assessors Map 32, Lot 3, zoned residential, to May 27th, 2021, our next meeting time.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Second, and all in favor?
Aye.
All right. You are continued to May 27th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And don't forget, board members, hold on to that paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anybody need a break or anything? Are we good to go?
Good to go.
Good to
That's
go.
good. Let me just put you on mute for a minute and square all my papers. All right. And if anybody at home would like to phone in on any of the upcoming agenda items, phone number is 781-565-8134. 781-565-8134. And that should be somewhere on your screen. Next item, please.
Erica Newcomer, for special permit under section 3320 of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to establish a home occupation as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 8 Bovers Road, Assessors Map 45, Lot 76, zoned residential.
All right. Who's here for this one?
Hello, this
Hello.
is Erica. Hi,
Hi, Erica. Name and address for the record, please, Erica.
Erica Newcomer, 8 Beauvier Road, Tewksbury.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure, so I'm starting up a tiny bakery business with a couple of items. I just got my kitchen inspection approval today from the Board of Health, so I'm good to go. The only thing that I am applying for is for permits to have customers potentially pick up items that they order, which is under the section 3320.
Tell me a little bit more. What exactly are you doing?
Okay, so I'm gonna be making peanut butter fudge pops to sell and cinnamon rolls, just 2 items to start. Customers can order through Instagram or a message right now, and then eventually a website. Mainly, I'm going to be doing farmers markets. I just would like, on the exception, if people potentially place a larger order, for them to be able to pick it up at my house, but most of the time I think they can pick up at a farmer's market. And I have children. I don't want a lot of extra traffic either, but I've outlined a couple steps in the letter that I submitted that I think would mitigate a lot of extra traffic, but I would just like the ability to offer that to certain customers if needed.
And you're
Right
referring
now,
to
I'm not doing anything.
You're referring to pickup by appointment only, limit
Yes.
pickup times, allow no more than 2 pickups during one time slot, maximum of 4 a day. Did everyone read that, board members?
Yes.
Yep.
So any questions, board members?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either.
Did everyone see that letter that got emailed to us today?
I have, yes.
Yes.
Find it here. All right, so you have, Erica, you have one of your neighbors that isn't happy about your plan.
Okay. Did they provide a reason that I can offer an explanation or something that would make them feel better about it?
And by that was the letter we received today.
Can
It's
you
public.
read it?
No, I can. Um,
No, I'm asking you, I'm sorry, Erica, can you read that or is that too small of a print for you?
I am reading it. I think some of it is cut off on the
I agree.
side.
Some of it is cut off.
I don't think any of it's cut off.
On the far right it is.
I don't think any
My
of it's cut off.
grand
I think that's
something.
exactly the way it was sent to me.
No, cut off, right. It's not all there though.
Right. That's exactly the way I sent it.
You can get the gist of it, though. Let me know when we're done reading that.
I'm done.
Bought it. Erica hasn't seen it yet.
She does state that she'll regulate her pickups, but as far as her delivery, she's something. Have a service come pick up her orders. I mean, I have kids too, and so I don't know if she saw that I'm gonna have a checkoff box if anyone's planning to pick up, that they have to acknowledge that there are kids on this street and they need to abide by the traffic laws. There are a lot of delivery trucks on the street. I'm not planning to have any supplies delivered to me. I'm going to be picking everything up myself. So I don't know if that was something she was referring to as well, but. Did she see my letter that I submitted as well?
That's up to her if she went to look for it. Because anything you submit is public record, so she would have to go look for it. That was something she submitted to the town clerk.
What else can I do then?
I'm actually just reading 3312, 3313, 3314. So this is your primary residence, right? Erica?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So 3312 is clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the premises for residential purposes. 3313 does not produce offensive noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odors, heat, lighting, electrical interference, radioactive emissions, or environmental pollution. You're baking, right? Erica?
Correct. Can you hear me?
Does not utilize exterior storage of materials or equipment, including parking of commercial vehicles. How are you gonna bring your stuff to the farmer's market?
My own car.
Okay. Then 17 is registered as a business with the town,
Yes, I am.
and that's already done.
That is already done, yes.
Anything else, board members?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either.
And I think, with the neighbor's concerns. I think that's pretty spelled out in the letter we received from the applicant.
Oh, I agree. I was gonna say that. I think she covered that.
If I could just add something, Mr. Chairman, that the roadway should be, people should be looking out for children on every road in Tewksbury, not just that road. I mean, it's a given that we use caution while operating on the roads.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that affects this decision.
All right, if there's nothing else, board members, I'll open it to the public at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a caller on the line.
Oh, good. All right, I'm ready for the caller.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm calling, I'm a neighbor, and I'm calling with a couple of concerns.
Before
First of all,
before you
like,
go on, hold on,
what
hold
he's
on,
gonna do is
hold
gonna set
on.
a precedent in
Hold-
the
caller.
neighborhood.
caller.
What about,
I need your name and address for the record. Did we lose her, Jason?
Nope, I'm just trying to get her name and number. Hold on one sec.
sure,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I do have her on the line again.
All right. Could I have your name and address for the record first, please?
sure, my name is Jean Hayden, and I live at 9 Euclid Road.
Thank you. All right, go ahead with your concerns.
Okay, as I said, my first concern is that this may set a precedent in the neighborhood for small little businesses. You know, for example, I do crafting, but I would never think of putting, you know, things out on the website or having people come to my house. This is just such a small, tight neighborhood, and there's a bunch of young families with kids that are riding their bikes, playing basketball. And also, I don't like the idea of them, you know, coming around Arthur Street, which is a connecting street, around Arthur Road, and, you know, coming up Euclid Road. I just don't like it. I'm concerned that she's only going to have a max of 4 per day, but the hours are going to be between 8 and 8. That bothers me a little bit. My biggest concern really is setting a precedent in the neighborhood and the traffic with the little kids that are around here. You can, you know, have somebody sign whatever you want them to sign to say that they're going to obey the traffic laws. And as somebody said earlier, yes, it could be obeying the traffic laws all around. That's not going to do anything. All it's going to do is just bring more traffic to a small, tight neighborhood.
What, I heard your concerns. What is your concern about 4 per day? And I understand the traffic, but you referenced 4 per day and the times of 8 to 8. I don't think I followed you on that one.
Okay, so she says she's limiting the pickup times between the hours of 8 and 8. I'm
Yep.
guessing 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Yep.
But she's only going to allow 4 per day. So why do you need that big a time slot? Why do you need 12 hours for 4 cars?
Every other business, if you will, like this, we've put a regulation on the hours.
Oh,
So she might have, I'm actually looking through the bylaws to see if I can find if it says hours. But, she might have just put that on there just to put something out there. You know, we could narrow that down. We could adjust that accordingly. But, that just allows, you know, if you get someone who wants to pick up something on their way home from work, that gives you that little extra time at the end of the day, I think. But it's not,
like I said,
prohibited.
more of my concern is the traffic and, you know, the little kids in the neighborhood.
All right.
can't
Well,
hear what
she's
you're saying.
she's basically talking about 4 cars per day.
Yeah,
That's 4 cars coming down the street in a 12-hour period. Erica, am I correct in that?
Yeah, that's what my limit is, and I'm happy to reduce that in half if that would be more appealing. I have kids too, so I am not unaware of that as an issue. I mean, we definitely have more than 4 Amazon trucks down the street a day as well. Not for me necessarily.
I
Well,
understand that, but
I'm
what
just,
about the next person that
and
comes up and says,
hold on.
I'd like to,
Everything needs to be directed to the board. Even I believe this is our first call in on this video meetings here, but everything still needs to come through the board. You're not gonna answer each other if you don't mind.
oh, no, I wasn't trying to do that at all.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I can't hear you very well. I can hear you well enough, but not super well. So go ahead.
No, I just said, just summing up, my real thing is setting a precedence in the neighborhood. I can't hear you.
I didn't say anything. That's why you didn't hear me. All right. I understand that concern. I do.
Okay. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else, Jason?
I do have another caller, Mr. Chairman,
All right.
and they're on the line.
Caller, if you could give us your name and address, please, first.
Rick Phelan, 7 Beauvais Road, Tewksbury, Mass.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
I just have a concern because my driveway is almost opposite from hers.
And okay, and what's the concern?
Well, the 4 cars that you were talking about, they back up. They're coming towards my driveway, to back out. And I'm concerned about my grandkids. I mean, granted, I know it's not a lot of cars, but, those 4 cars are going to be backing up towards my driveway to pull off back out onto the street and go whichever way they're going to go, up Beauvais or down Beauvais, That's
I actually think she put, would it be better if we parked, if we consider this, would you feel better if we made a condition that they didn't use the driveway?
Possibly.
I understand your concern. People drive better forward than they do backwards.
If they pulled parallel, with the street, didn't go in the driveway, so they didn't have to back out towards my driveway. Yeah, that's a possible solution for that, anyways.
I completely understand that concern.
I mean, I agree with you. It's not a lot of cars. It's 4 cars, but my grandkids are on the driveway too. Quite a bit playing. So, but yeah, that could be a possible solution. Don't pull in the driveway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else, Jason?
No other callers, Mr. Chairman. Oh, actually, I might have one more. Hold on one sec. Okay, I think that was actually the last gentleman this last time, so you should be all set.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, Erica. So one of your neighbors is concerned about backing up from your driveway, getting into theirs. Would you be objectionable to not having people pull in your driveway?
I am fine with that. Absolutely. I'm fine with the side of the street too.
Okay. I actually, I understand that. People back up. Everyone's got Camrys and beepers and all kinds of stuff in their cars, and they're not looking anymore.
Yeah.
Now, how about, how do you feel about 2 pickups a day?
Fine. I don't think it's gonna be very many. I just would like to, have the permission in case.
All right. I think if you're okay with it, if we drop that to 2 per day,
Yeah.
that might make your neighbors a little happier. And I understand the concern about small businesses being run out of houses, but it's in our zoning bylaws. If you follow what's spelled out in the zoning bylaws, then it is available to you by special permit.
She has a right to do that, as do others in town that do it. She's followed the process. She's filled out her requests. She's done everything right so far.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to make the neighbors mad either, and my intent really is to do the majority off-site. So it would be, I could amend the letter to say it would also be, occasionally versus, I'm not sure if there's a better wording that would be, I don't know, more amenable to people.
And from what I get from what you're saying is, this is more of a business that you're going to run out of your house, but it's not a home business where that's your only outlet to get your product out. You need to do the right thing. You need to get the Board of Health down there and approve your sanitary measures and all of that. And this is more of a formality to all of that, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes, and I did get the Board of Health approval, so I'm going to operate whether there's pickup allowed or not, but I would just like it as an in case.
Right. All right. Anything else, board members?
No.
If anybody'd like to make a motion, is there anything else you'd like to say, Erica?
Oh, but thank you all for your time on this.
If somebody would like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to, for the special permit.
No,
for
we gotta close.
Erica Newcomer and
No.
section. Nope.
Nope.
Hold on. We gotta close both parts of the hearing first.
All right.
So you made a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Yes.
Motion has been made. Nancy, motion has been made.
Yes, but motion's been made. I second. Sorry.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor of closing both parts of the hearing? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on this? All right. The only discussion I have is to the letter that was given to us from Erica Newcomer for Sweet Ease LLC. If you list it as my mitigation plan is as follows.
Yep.
I would like to read that into the decision. Scratch both customers could park in my driveway. We'll scratch that to no driveway and allow no more than 2 pickups in one time slot and max of 2 per day. I think that's pretty reasonable with the neighbors. All right. So, Mr. Farnham, if you'd like to make that motion, if everyone's happy with that.
I'm happy with it. So I'm going to make a motion for special permit to be allowed under section 3320 for Erica Newcomer of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to establish a home occupation as shown, with the exceptions of no more than 2 cars a day in the driveway. and not to back out, not to enter or back out. And what is the second caveat?
What we're gonna do is, I want to read all of it. So offer pickup by appointment only, limit
Okay,
pickup hours,
offering pickup by only, and offer hours from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
and no more than 2 per day,
Right, I'd say no more than 2 per day.
not in the driveway,
Right, not in the driveway, and to back out, not backing out, obviously,
not parking in the driveway at all.
at all.
All right, motion's been made.
I second.
Second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye. Unanimous vote. All right. Good luck with your sweet ease.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So now we're halfway. I'd like to take a 10-minute recess, if that'd be all right with everyone. Like a real
Yes,
10,
please.
like a real 10-minute one, not a
Mm-hmm.
zoning board sitting in a half hour.
Yeah, 10 is good.
So we're in recess for 10 minutes. All right, is everybody ready?
Ready?
All right, so this one's gonna be me, Mike, and Dan. Melissa, if you will, please.
Anthony,
Hold on 1 second. Jason, are we all set?
We're all set, Mr. Chairman.
All right, off you go.
Anthony
Please.
and Danielle Bresnahan for variance in section 4130, appendix B, for side yard setbacks of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 14.5 by 9 mudroom as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 14 Champion Street, assessors map 57, lot 42, zoned residential.
All right, who's here for this one?
Good evening. It's Anthony Bresnahan of 14 Champion Street.
All right, if you would, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, please.
Yep. So me and my wife, we'd like to construct a mudroom onto the side of our house. It's a little addition where right now we have about a patch of mulch, and we'd like to put a mudroom kind of extending from the front of our house where there's a fence all the way to the fence which goes along the back side of our house, which encompasses our pool. Basically, the reason it was denied was not specifically because of the addition, but because my pool is so close to my house. It's within 10 feet. In section 4144 of the bylaws, it counts as part of the primary structure on my property. So the pool itself meets the side setbacks for a pool, but when it's taken into account as the primary structure of the property, it doesn't meet the 15-foot side setback that would be needed. I was here June of last year in front of this board, and it was approved, but I found out earlier this year as I was talking to the building department that the approval was actually for a 10 by 12 foot, and we were looking for a 14.5 foot by 9 foot. The contractor had put the wrong values on the permit and whatnot, and I didn't catch it in time before I went in front of this board last year. So when I caught it this year, I figured out what the issue was. So we went back to the building department and resubmitted the forms for a 14.5 foot by 9 foot mudroom addition. So yeah, the main issue was not specifically the addition. If I didn't have the pool, there'd be no issue with putting that addition on because the addition itself would meet the side setbacks. But because my pool is so close to my house and to the addition, it counts as the primary structure on the property.
All right, thank you for pointing out 4144 because I'll be honest with you, I was sitting here scratching my head. So now it's because, well, in your denial letter, it says, according to the plot plan, proposed mudroom would be approximately 3 feet from the in-ground pool. The pool will now not meet the required setback. So why are we talking about a mudroom? Why not? We're talking about a pool, right? Because now it's the pool that doesn't meet the setback, not the mudroom.
Correct. Yeah. The pool right now is within 10 feet of my current property, even without the mudroom. So it already counts as part of the primary structure. Adding the mudroom wouldn't make it part of the primary structure. But yes, it's the pool that's too close to my neighbors, not specifically the mudroom.
How close in your print? You didn't give us a dimension of how close it is to the property line.
Yeah, it is about 10 feet within the property line between the side setback to the left side of the sheet. It's well within 15 or 20 feet back from the back property. But it's the side setback because it's kind of angled awkwardly, it seems, but it's angled on the property. So it on the very tip of the corner in the back corner of the pool, it is within the 15 feet, certainly, of my neighbors.
What is it on the front corner?
The front corner, it's got to be about at least 15 feet or so. I'd have to go look. I mean, the right about where that front corner is, right next to it, there's is the entry fence that goes into the pool. So there's about 8 feet of 8 to 10 feet of that concrete there, and then there's the fence that goes around it, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 feet in between the pool fence and my neighbor's fence, which is on the other side.
Now, what did you get before to do the pool?
The pool's been there since like the 60s or 70s. It's been there since we bought the house, and the pool guy that we have said, yeah, it looks like it's been based on the style of pool that it is. He said it's been around since at least the 70s. So it was there when we bought the house back in 2010.
So what were you talking about? You were in front of this board back in June.
I was in front of the board back in June because we were trying to put a mudroom in. We had the same issue, but the contractor put a 10-foot by 12-foot addition, which isn't exactly what we wanted. So a 10-foot by 12-foot, the way it would end up, would put sort of a wall right in where the window is, which just wouldn't work where we were in the house. So the same problem happened back in June. We were talking about the same thing, where it's actually the pool is the fact that the pool is so close to my current house makes it part of the primary structure, and that's where the side setback rule comes into effect.
So when the mudroom was a 10 by 12 in June, did you go ahead and come to the board, or did you just withdraw?
No, we came in front of the board, and it was approved, and we did get the permit to go forward with the mudroom.
So you're basically just throwing that permit away because the contractor wrote the wrong size on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
Yep. So when I found out earlier this year, and I found everything, I asked if it's a simple change, or do we have to go back in front of the board? And it was, we have to go back in front of the board because the official documentation said the 10 by 12. So we decided, instead of going with the 10 by 20, the 10 by 12, which would have just shrunk the space by 2 foot backwards in front of from the front side of our property backwards an extra 2 feet, and would end up there being probably a wall right on the edge, or if not in the middle of the window. We decided just to come back in front of the board and go for the original size that me and my wife wanted.
Well, I'm going to say I'm very confused, but I understand if that makes any sense to you. Any questions, board members?
Well, maybe you can clarify it for me.
You're asking me? All right. So what happened is he came before the board in June. The mudroom that he was going to build was 10 by 12 on the prints. The issue is, if you read 40, where did I write it down? 4144.
Yep.
4144 says an accessory building attached to a principal building or within. Now, a pool is an accessory, right? It's an accessory structure. An accessory building attached to a principal building or within 10 feet of it shall be considered an integral part thereof, and as such shall be subject to front, side, and rear yard requirements. So what happened is, this pool was built in the 70s when nobody cared about permits or anything like that. They just threw stuff up everywhere. Anthony buys the house, still no problem with the pool. Now he wants to do an addition. So he draws this addition of a 10 by 12 mudroom, comes before the board because now, hey, wait a minute, this pool is an accessory and you're too close to the property line. So he came back here to get a side yard setback for the pool. We granted it. Then he realized that he had the wrong size on the print. He had a 10 by 12. He didn't want a 10 by 12. The contractor made a mistake. He wanted a 9 by 14 and a half. So he has to do the whole process again to actually be permitted for what he wants to build. He could right now go out there and build his 10 by 12. We've already approved it, but that's not what he wants. He wants a 14 by 9. So doing the right thing, he's coming back. He's just letting all that permit stuff go. He's coming back to ask for another variance for the exact same thing, but a little differently shaped mudroom. So the variance is actually for the side yard setback of the pool. it basically has nothing to do with the mudroom. The mudroom was just what threw up the red flag for the pool, because the pool is so close to the house.
So what is the commissioner talking about when they're just calling out that the mudroom would only be 3 feet from the in-ground pool?
She's calling out 4144, which makes it less than 10 feet from the principal building. And now it's considered, if that was further away, it would be an accessory building and it would be okay. But since it's only 3 feet away and the mudroom makes it even closer, now it's part of the house. It's not an accessory anymore. It's considered an integral part thereof. So it has to follow all of, even though it's a pool, it has to follow all of the front, side, and rear yard setbacks. So like I said, I'm very confused, but I understand. Does that make any sense? Do it this way. Take the mudroom right out of it, right? How close was that pool to the house before the mudroom? Less than 10 feet, right?
Correct.
Okay. So now, because it was built back in the 70s, nobody cared about that stuff. Now it's an integral part of the house, and you need the side yard setback, which it doesn't have. He
So
said
they're
it's
not-
like 10, it needs to be 15.
So they're not concerned with the 3 feet distance, like coming down the stairs and the pool is 3 feet away from that stairwell. They're concerned with the pool setback because now it's part of the structure.
Exactly.
Primary structure.
Exactly. Which it always was. It just, nobody noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not even 15, it's 10 on his side yard setback, because the house was built, oh, what's the rule, 1980 or something? Oh, no, you don't get that one. How big is the lot? Is it an acre?
No, it's I want to say it's like a quarter of an acre.
It's 100 by 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11, ooh, you just missed it, 11,000 square feet. Because if you were 10,000 square feet or less, erected prior to March 18th of 1992, you could have reduced the side from 15 to 10, but you don't get that one.
Oh, okay.
You missed that one by, you missed it by 100 feet.
A few feet.
So Rob, to recap, he's already come in and gotten approval from the board once for the exact same thing. The only thing that's changed is the size of the patio, but that we don't take that into consideration because we're still just looking at the pool.
What's changed is the size of the mudroom.
Mudroom.
Not the patio.
Yeah.
What we're here for is a side yard setback, and it's the side yard setback from the pool is what we're looking at, because the mudroom is 23 feet off the side yard.
Correct.
That's what I read. Yeah, 23 feet. He's 34 from the front and 23 from the side, so he's fine on that one. It's the pool. Just one of those cases of it's been like that forever. And then when you go to try to do something else thinking you're fine, somebody picks up on it, and here we are. Pool's been there since the 70s. Did I explain it well enough?
Yeah, understood. Seems pretty cut and dry to me then, if that's the case.
Who else is on this one? Mike? Anything,
Mike?
Mike?
Nothing at all. No, all good.
Okay. Well, being a public hearing at this time, we'll open it to the public. If anyone's on the line. And that phone number is 781-565-8134. 781-565-8134. See anyone, Jason?
No callers yet for this item, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we'll give it another minute. Anything else? Anyone want to say anything? You got the size of the mudroom right this time?
Yes.
We'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's exactly what my wife said.
Well, if somebody'd like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
I'll make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Motion's
Second.
been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion?
No.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Anthony and Danielle Bresnahan for a variance from section 4130, appendix B for side yard setbacks of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 4.5 by 9 foot mudroom as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 14 Champion Street, assessor map 57, lot 42, zoned residential.
Motion's been made. Can I get a second, Mike? All right,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay, good luck.
Thank you again.
You're welcome. All right, the last new hearing on the agenda, please.
Peter and Patricia Poljeski for a special permit under section 3630 to reconstruct, extend, or alter non-conforming structure of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 12 by 20 open deck as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 21 Harrison Road, assessors map 18, lot 129, zoned residential.
And who do we have for this one?
Peter Pileski from 21 Harrison Road in Tewksbury.
Peter. Tell us a little bit about what you want to do, please.
I want to replace the existing deck on my house with using the exact same footprint and just upgrade the material. I've lived at the house for since 1993.
Same height, same width, same everything?
Yes.
Just prettier?
Yeah, just prettier.
So you're an existing non-conforming structure?
Yes.
What makes you existing non-conforming?
Well, I bought it with the deck on there, and then when I went to get the permit from the town, they showed no deck on the house.
Gotcha. And your deck's 10 foot 6 inches away from your property line?
Yes.
That's not what they're getting you for, though, because you're an existing non-conforming structure. You might be non-conforming for your frontage. You only got 90 feet of frontage. When was the house built?
1988.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, existing non-conforming is probably a frontage. Because you probably should have needed a variance to build that deck to begin with. So, any questions, board members?
I have none.
This is on this. Mrs. Rigo, any questions? Nothing?
No, none.
All right. All right, being a public hearing at this time, we'll open it to the public. Anyone?
We have no comments on this item, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else, board members?
I don't have any questions.
I have nothing.
Anybody want to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion?
I don't have any.
None.
taking down a deck, putting up a new one. Sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Someone want to make a motion?
All right, I'll make the motion for Peter and Patricia Podolowski for a special permit under section 3630 to reconstruct, extend, or alter a non-conforming structure. The Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 12 by 20 open deck as shown on plans filed with the board. The property is located at 21 Harrison Road, assessors map 18, lot 129, zoned residential.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. All right. Good luck, sir. You're all set.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Any old business board members? We do have a little new business to attend to. We got a variance and special permit extension request from 913 East Street. I wonder who's here for this one.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Dick Cuco here representing Francesca Land LLC. Can you hear me all right, sir?
I can.
Okay. The applicant had received a variance for this project back in May of 2020. And since that time, we have actually filed for a site plan special permit and for an order of conditions. And we actually have received the site plan special permit and the order of conditions. However, due to the complications with COVID-19, we weren't able to meet in person with town staff. So instead of taking 3 or 4 months to get the project approved, it took pretty close to a year. So we're all approved now. They are in the process of applying for a building permit, but the permit may not be issued by May 28th. Because of the complexities with foundations and what the geotechnical that the building departments are requiring now. So we're asking the board to give a 6-month extension on the variance, which is ample time for us to receive our building permit. We've been told that just applying for the building permit does not satisfy the requirement. We have to actually have the building permit issued, and not just the foundation permit, but the full building permit. So we think we're going to have it done by May 28th, but we don't want to have spent all this time and money and energy to miss it by a short period of time. So requesting a 6-month extension, which Chapter 48, Section 10 allows the board to grant a 6-month extension on variances. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you don't remember the plan, I can share my screen with you if you like.
No, these truly are trying times, and we all understand that things take a lot longer nowadays. So I don't think a 6-month extension would be out of the question.
I would agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if anyone, Dan, who do you want to put on this? Me, Nancy, and you? Good choice. All right. So if, Dan, I haven't heard any motions from you tonight.
You're on mute, Dan.
I'm still not hearing any motions from you.
I have made a motion, but I will make another.
There you go.
I would like to make a motion to extend the variance and special permit for 913 East Street until November 28th, 2021.
Motion's been made.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All right, good luck. All right, and next new business, variance extension request, 1900 Andover Street. All right, go ahead, sir.
Oh, hi, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Cutlass for 71 Newbury Street Properties in YC Tewksbury LLC. You guys granted us this was for an electronic billboard. There couldn't be any residential use or a house within 1,000 feet. There was one within approximately 950 feet. You guys granted us a variance back in November of 2019. We did get one 6-month extension because of
some delays with the permit with the Board of Selectmen. And that one is running out May 21st. We're requesting another one because the applicant had to go before the state to get state permission. The state has come out and reviewed it. Everything looks good in their opinion, but it can't get to their board until June 23rd. So we would be outside the May 21st date. So we're requesting a further 6-month extension. We did get backed up a little negotiating with the selectmen on the host agreement and what we were going to pay the town. Actually worked out more favorable for the town than the original proposal because the dollar value was increased to the town. So that turned out to be a good thing for the town. So they can't get before the state board until June 23rd. So that's why we need this additional extension.
You came before 2019.
Yeah, that was the original. And we were delayed. They would try to do two.
Before you go any further, 2019. It feels like last month.
I know.
It really does.
It does. I can't believe it was that far back either.
All right. I don't see a problem with extending this. These are
Me
trying
neither.
times with the COVID-19.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Who wants to make a motion on this one? Who's our voting members, Dan?
Me, Mike, and you.
Perfect.
And I would like to make a motion to extend the variance for 1900 Andover Street until November 21st, 2021.
I'll second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board.
You're welcome.
good
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. What else? That's it. Anyone else have anything? Any new business? Sounds like we're getting closer to getting back into town hall. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Any
Getting
dates?
close.
The next one.
No, it
Yeah.
says our next, no, it doesn't say it. It will be televised. It tells us the station. Yeah, hopefully the next one. That'd be nice.
It would be nice.
I got my money on 2 more though. 2 more months. Middle of
Yeah,
summer,
probably.
in there.
Well, I'm fully vaccinated if that helps.
Yeah, I am also. Moderned.
Pfizered.
Yeah. Moderned with the reaction.
Vodka.
Oh.
That's a good one too.
Ooh. A boom.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, board members, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Second.
Hold on. I'm reading a message here.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.